Shane Vitko, along with my co-host Tommy Vext.
What's going on,
What's
buddy?
up, my man?
Right.
Today we are sitting down with Lieutenant Steve Heineman, retired lieutenant from the Santa Monica PD. How are you, sir?
Very good, very good. 2012, alongside, Tommy's a good friend of mine for a number of years and stuff too. So he asked me, and that's why I'm here, man.
Sorry to hear about that.
I know.
It's a rough life.
I didn't want to go on air about that, but we can talk about that.
Yeah. They're gonna beat me up after this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's gonna be. But they're
no,
not gonna film it though.
no,
you know what I mean? I'm a little worried here. I'm the only black guy, and there's a cop and an ex-white supremacist.
No,
what
this
am I
cop
gonna
would
do?
never let you get beat up. I'm
I
not
know
saying
that.
it's nothing. Just this is my guy, so I never let him get beat up.
That's right. That's right. You're my 911. I don't even call 911 if something goes wrong. I call Steve.
Yeah,
it's true.
But yeah, so there's a lot. So okay, so welcome everybody who is just tuning in for the first time. This is the Deviant Gentleman podcast. My brother Shane started this year, and I came on and joined, and this is kind of episode 1 of the new era. There is a lot going on. A lot of people who might be tuning into this already previously follow the podcast. A lot of people follow me from my band Bad Wolves through social media. A lot of people know that I've been getting censored. My posts and my live streams on Facebook and Instagram have been taken down. So a lot of my rants and stuff have been canceled. So we moved everything over to here, and we're going to talk about solution. We're going to talk about the civil unrest. We're going to talk about racism. We're going to talk about police brutality. We're going to talk about the right way to go about change. We're going to talk about we're going to have non-censorship, and we're going to talk about kindness and the effect of what is capable of the human heart when we open our minds and open our hearts and we embrace each other as equals and try to forge solutions. I think everybody in the world right now is hurting because we want solutions to the problems. There are economic issues, there are race relation issues, there's a lot of problems going on. So thank you guys. Steve, thanks for coming on. I'm going to give Steve a little bit of a rollout. So Steve, was started out as a police officer in 81?
89.
89, okay, 89.
89, I'm not that old, man.
Listen,
Come
I
on,
don't
man.
listen, man. Listen, okay, I'm not listening. This is my first time. I'm usually singing on stage. And you started out as in the HLP, which is the...
No, I started on patrol. Here, you want
patrol.
me to do?
Yeah,
let
you
me,
do
let
it.
me help you out, brother.
Help me.
Dude, I'll help you out. I educate the younger generation.
All right.
No, I started out in 89 on patrol. I was 29 years old when I started, and was hired by the Santa Monica Police Department. I was living in Santa Monica at the time. I'm a native New Yorker. That's one of the, honestly, the reasons why Tommy and I kind of really get along so well is I'm not saying we travel in the same circles or whatever back east, but we understand the same issues and things like that, and I always respect them for that. So, then I had come out here as an actor. Hey, that's an original story, and I was getting married. I met my wife in the industry. She had a daughter. Fell in love, and I wanted to, while I loved acting and stuff, and it just I needed, as a guy, me or whatever, with my upbringing and the influence on me, I need to be a responsible dad. That's what I thought, and so I need a responsible job or a regular job, and I love the cops. It's not that I grew up. I grew up in West Village in New York City, and we're talking during the 70s. New York City was a pretty happening place and stuff, and I loved it. I loved it as a kid and stuff, but I didn't know some of the dangers and stuff. So I put my stuff.
New York was very
school.
different than New York. Yeah.
Whole East Village was a shooting gallery.
Mm-hmm.
The ABC.
And you went to college. You didn't intend on being a police officer.
No.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't. I'm going to be honest. I grew up in privilege. I went to Dalton School. Well, I went to public school. My mom's a social worker. She's my idol. I love that lady to death, and she's passed and stuff, but I try to live in her honor, every day. I really do, and with my family and stuff, because she was a special person, the first person to put herself through college. She's a white German lady from a German family, trucking family in Pittsburgh and stuff. But
and so
you know,
she was a social worker, and so
Yeah.
that must have imprinted you, obviously, growing up. Just the
Absolutely.
fact that she dedicated her life to the service of other people.
oh my God, she demystified stuff for me. Like she used to, on the way to public school, she was the reason we went to public school. I have older brother and sister until the 5th grade, because she wanted us to interact with all kids, you know, all from all environments and stuff. PS41, a shout out to that, man, love it.
I was PS 152.
You know, as I say, you know, some people.
What about Red Sox fans?
You know, dude, we already talked about that off the air. You know, it's not good to bring that on the air because
You already went to jail once.
I might have to get physical. No,
Well, you
but it's
said all
cool. You
different
know,
lines of
actually,
people.
no, the truth is, I love Red Sox fans because I'm not a Yankee fan. In New York, oh yeah, I'm a Met and Jet,
So you're a
baby.
Mets guy, okay.
Met and Jet. Oh,
We got
yeah.
all kinds of beef going on
Oh,
here.
yeah,
'Cause
no.
my family's
This
New
is
York and
also- yeah.
Giants.
So, but
so
I'll
we're
make
gonna
this
all
quick,
fist
man.
fight after this. It's gonna be great.
I'll wrap this shit up. You know, sorry, but
what I
yeah.
wanted to kind of put together is, you know, the influence of your mom
Yeah.
and her service work as a social
Yeah.
worker, and how you embodied that as a police officer, and how that carried through you had an extremely successful career. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you went from you worked the patrol, you did the HLP, which is the homeless liaison patrol. You worked with the Vice, which undercover.
Here, you know, homeless liaison patrol. Then from that, I went to Vice and Narcotics. That's something I always aspired to do, but I thought it would take me, you know, when I first entered the force, like 10, 15 years. I had a real visionary chief that came in a year after I entered the Santa Monica Police Force. I'd like to give a shout out to him. He's the current mayor of Inglewood, James T. Butts, and a young African American man. I think he was like 37, 39 when he came in. You know, he brought in new ideas and everything, the department, and he gave a lot of opportunity. You know, and he gave opportunity across the board. It didn't matter race, creed, color, whatever, any of that stuff, man. He was about getting the job done, and he was a visionary, and it gave me, you know, I thought Vice and Narcotics, which is what I really aspired to be. And when I entered the department, I thought, you know, I couldn't even apply for something like that.
Wouldn't you think most cops, that's their goal, is to be?
I don't know about that. No, you know,
Vice
not
detective.
anymore. Not anymore. I mean, yes, in my era when I started, yeah, you know, not so much anymore. There's so many avenues. I mean, you know, and this is some strange things like with Rodney King, okay, and OJ. Now, we all know like the negative or whatever things we perceive, but it really, both of those things did a whirl of an incredible amount of support to law enforcement, the advancement. And I can talk about this. I mean, it's not that, you know, we can get into that if you wanted to, but why, and accountability for law enforcement officers, also, you know, how we present a case, how you know, just so many things changed, you know, as a result of that. And you know, getting back to what's going on right now, you know, a little bit is, you know, I mean, this is so hard to see because obviously I love the profession that I did. I was given great opportunities. I worked with some of the greatest people. You know, honestly exceeded my expectations. You know, the people that I had the opportunity of working with. And
that's another thing that is important to that I've been talking about, is because I'm so I have family who are in law enforcement.
Yeah.
I have, you know, I've obviously, you've introduced me. I've done service work with the Vice Squad of Santa Monica PD, bringing, you know, anti-drug and alcohol presentations to the kids in the schools.
Yeah.
And it hits different. It hits different. It's you know, the Vice officers have their, you know, their pitch to the kids, and then when I go up there and I tell them about my experience as a recovered drug addict, and the story of what happened with my brother and I, who were twins, and we went two different directions, where, you know, we were, you know, kind of in gang mentalities and drug dealers and all that bullshit. I got out of it. I got sober. I became a rock star. My bro is still in jail, you know, and you know, it's important. You know, I have a
wait. I just want to clarify, you're a rock star.
I am a rock star.
But I'm still prettier than you.
4 million records.
All right, I'm still better looking.
No, I know. Well,
okay,
listen, it's not about the outsides. It's about the insides. You know what I mean?
There you go. Okay.
Listen.
I just wanted to bring you down a peg.
Yeah,
rock star. Because you know what?
Well,
Every
it just
cop
sounds
wants to be a rock star. Everybody wants to be a rock star.
Well, that's the thing that I always tell people. I'm like, every human being has an opportunity to be a hero to somebody else. We don't realize that it's like our relationships, our friends, like, you know, a teacher in school that affected me, that put ideas in my head that allowed me to believe I could be whoever I wanted to. Sometimes it doesn't come from our parents. Sometimes it doesn't come from our peers or our brothers and sisters. So everyone has the opportunity to be a hero to somebody else. And there are law enforcement agents like yourself, officers that have been that to me. And so I have a real issue as an African-American man with the media creating a new breed of racism against blue, and it's not okay, because and we can't not say that there isn't an issue, like it's obvious, it's well documented, you know. And you know, personally, you know, I have been beaten up by the cops as a kid. I was a little shithead,
I know,
you know, and so I
want to beat you up right now.
Well,
no, I don't mean to. No, you know what? That wasn't fair. Actually, I need to apologize. because you're being serious.
Yeah, I am.
This is a serious thing.
But we break balls.
I know. I love you so much.
The
but,
humor.
this is not the. Other people are here.
I was going to say he probably deserved the.
Well, that's I know. Well, listen, but that's the thing. It's like we like inserting humor. I mean, that's something that Shane is like a comedian.
Yeah.
And like you're being really quiet because it's like very serious, but he's got 47 jokes that he hasn't told you. Now I can just see his face. I'm like, oh God. So don't hold back.
Nah.
But yeah, this is the thing that's going on right now. And, you know, I'm curious as to, you know, one of your jobs was you were in charge of hiring new police officers.
Yep.
And I believe
5 years.
Yeah, and I believe that there is an issue with, you know, I think you can attest to the hiring process and the kind of psychological profiles that, you know, these cops who are not, they're dishonoring their badge by an overuse of power, overuse of violence and aggression.
No, what we saw there, honestly, I've listened, you know, for the last 3-4 days, people trying to qualify what they saw, because, you know, I mean, we're humans, you know, and so we try to justify what we're seeing, not justify, but, you know, just make some sense of it. And I'll tell you, you know, I spent 23 years pretty much on the street. I mean, I had some deals like, you know, where it was internal, but stuff, but there's just, you know, I don't want to look at it again. I've seen it because I can't. I want to make sense of it,
it's hard,
and I can't. But I'm someone who's been there because, you know, honestly, I don't want to go to this drastic, but you know, our job and stuff, and you know, there's no shame in saying I'm not up to this, you know, and stuff. But you know, our job is we are peace officers. This is the thing that you know, we're peace officers. First of all, that's the thing we're you know, employed. We are swear an oath to. We're educated to becoming in the academy and stuff. Peace officers. I mean, there are some things that are you know, tactical, military, because obviously sometimes you know you have to maintain the peace. And what does that mean? It's situational. But that I can't. You know, I can't, and I'm a educated guy and everything else, and I lived, you know, a life on the street, a lot of it, all on the street. I stayed on the street. You know, I promoted lieutenant just right at the end of my career, but because that's what I loved, and I loved the guys that worked the street, the guys, the girls, the civilians, you know, stuff. And
Steve, let me ask you a question: how often do like, you know, like in the military, they have a PT test or whatnot.
Yes.
So how often do policemen have to either do, you know, running, whatever it is for a physical thing, as well as weapons training?
Right. Okay. Great question. You know, and this is the thing. Weapons training we do continually, or at least I like. Well, let me clarify. I can only speak for my experience with the Santa Monica Police Department. But I have a pretty broad knowledge of other, you know, stuff, and we have qualifications you have to maintain to be able to carry a firearm.
Right.
Otherwise, if you can't, and this is just in firing accuracy, and this is under the not even extreme circumstances, you would be put on a desk or whatever. Right. There's a minimum. You're right. Okay.
Can you hit the target?
Well, hit the target. Well, yeah.
Right.
I mean,
let's start there, right? And then.
But so that is always ongoing, and that has improved, and that's what I'm saying. Going back to Rodney King, what Rodney King did, in my opinion, because I started in '89, so I mean, it did so much for training, for internal training, for requirements for training. I mean, federally, but beyond federally, just the departments themselves and amongst them training to do that. It intensified it in a good way. And so it's such a complex issue in a way, because that training is everything. And I'll tell you one of the things that I was in personnel and training. I was in charge of the division as a sergeant. Had a great team working for me, diverse. And at the time, it was Santa Monica at that time needed more female officers. We need to be. One of the most important things to me is a police department has to be racially representative of its community, and communities change. I mean, communities change. Do you know what I mean? In demographics, with gentrification, that's a whole.
And do you mean equally across the board in the department, or you mean like Beverly Hills should be primarily a white department, or you mean?
I see what you're saying and stuff like that. You know, that's the hard thing. No, Beverly Hills
and Compton should have an all black, or should it be
no
as equal Latino, white, black, so that it's all.
It can't be whatever. To me, whatever you can't underrepresent a community in your community.
Right. So more white cops than black in Compton is
But you have to respect the demographic of your community.